Dan Dickau here for Gonzaga Nation SI. A little bit of a somber update here for Gonzaga Nation SI as we mourn the loss, but celebrate the life of Coach Jerry Krause. He was instrumental for Eastern Washington basketball. He was instrumental for Gonzaga basketball for a number of years, both on the men's side, the women's side, and also the athletic department, just with his approach to everything. A tremendous coach, tremendous teacher, tremendous person. He preferred, that coaches would be called teachers. He thought of coaches as teachers. And he always referred back a lot of times in our conversations with who he considered the master teacher, and that would have been John Wooden, somebody that he was extremely close with, learned a lot from with the game of basketball, collaborated on with the game of basketball with quite a lot. But Coach Krause passed away the last couple of days at the age of 87. He was, as mentioned, instrumental in Eastern Washington, transitioning them from NAIA to Division II to Division I. Spent some time at West Point as a professor. Then I got to know him when he came back to the Spokane area, and he was part of the Gonzaga basketball program, kind of as a special assistant director of basketball ops for 15 years. He came back when I was playing, and he kind of was the first person that I know of that really used analytics as a tool to grade out individual performances as well as team performances. He had everything graded out for each player's performance, whether it was your ability and your willingness to go to the glass on the offensive and defensive end of the floor, assist rates, all of those different things, that are prevalent in today's game. He was one of the first to really dive in and look at that. So after games the next day, you were really looking forward to see what your game grade was, and you were hoping that, it was a B or higher. And then you also graded out in some of the things that you may have a focus on, to be a B or hopefully an A in those categories. And then you're always worried and curious about what the team grade was, your points per possession on the offensive end of the floor, as well as the defensive end, your rebound differential, your rebound rate, as far as how much you would go to the glass percentage wise. He had stats and tracking analytics for nearly everything in the game of basketball. When I thought I was going down the coaching path, I spent a number of times sitting talking with him about analytics and about coaching and about a lot of his experience. And he was someone that, whether it was myself as a former player looking to get into coaching, or a young coach, whether at the junior high level, whether it was at a clinic he came across with, he always made time for people who wanted to learn more about the game. And you can see that because he was doing clinics up until the last year or so. I did a couple clinics myself with him up in Canada over the last 8-10 years. And even when he was getting older, he had a passion for teaching the game of basketball. It was awesome to see. It was fun to see. And he was always a stickler for the details, the fundamentals, the quick stops, the footwork, the ability to understand spacing. He was tremendous at sharing his love for the game and teaching not only his love for the game, but his knowledge of the game. One thing that a lot of people might not know is he is the most written author on the game of basketball. You could go on Amazon.com and he'll have a number of books that he authored, he co-authored, he wrote. He was very instrumental in promoting the game of basketball and the knowledge and the teaching that he had and the skills that he had in sharing it with others in clinic settings as well as through books. So sad news out of Gonzaga. Coach Jerry Krause passing away at the age of 87. Anybody that has come in contact with him, I'm sure has a positive story or a positive experience to share at this time.